He says, people don't know the truth, so they're going to think what they're going to think. And this was in his first interview since his wife disappeared. He said that she went for a bike ride on Mother's Day. He was in Denver working, and she went for a bike ride and never came home. So here's another quote from Barry. This is the most devastating thing that has ever happened to me, but I've got to keep my faith and trust in God. And Suzanne trusted the Lord. And if one person got saved from this, she would think it was worth it. And we are just a godly, loving, caring family, and this is just a tragedy. Suzanne's bike and a personal item, which I put up quotes because we don't know what that was. We don't know what personal item they recovered during that search.
The Chaffee County Sheriff's Office says an item thought to belong to her was found just west of County Road 225 and Highway 50. The Sheriff's Office would not say what that item was or where it was found. More than 50 searchers were in that area, and they closed Monarch Pass for several hours.
Following a conflict of interest with the last judge, Barry Morphew will head back to court next week, and his trial is expected to begin in May.
Here's Barry again in this interview. He says, quote, "The sheriff's department screwed this whole thing up from the beginning, and now they are trying to cover it up and blame it on me. My buddy was right there after they found her bike, and he said that they completely destroyed the evidence, and he tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen to him and said, 'This is not CSI.' He continued, 'There's no evidence for the investigators to see because the sheriff's department completely obliterated it.'"
Suzanne? Maybe see if you can get that up to the road and then check the serial number or call the husband and see what kind of bike she has. Somebody Chippy 11.
Chippy 11.
Can you try to call the husband and see what type of bike she has? Right now I'm staring at a Santa Cruz blue in color.
Well, dude, I started it.
And the top priority in this is to find Suzanne.
Suzanne Morphew went for a bike ride on Sunday. She never returned.
Are there any theories that you're working on?
Yes, there are, but I think it's best for the investigation and for the family and for the progress that we keep it close and maybe not discuss it live right now, but we're making progress and we are so far from giving up, and we are going to find her today.
49-year-old Suzanne Morphew was reported missing from a Mother's Day bike ride.
And to an update on the search for a missing woman that we told you about yesterday. $100,000 is now being offered for information about Suzanne Morphew. She's from Chaffee County. She went on a bike ride near the east side of Monarch Pass on Mother's Day. She hasn't been seen since. The search for her is now extending towards Salida.
Suzanne and Barry Morphew grew up in the same hometown of Alexandria, Indiana, and met in high school. Suzanne was popular and well-liked. Barry was a star baseball player who was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. The couple, who began dating after Barry graduated high school, married in 1994. Barry started a landscaping business, and Suzanne was a school teacher before leaving the job to raise her two daughters, Mallory and Macy. According to friends, the Morphews moved from Indiana to a home just outside of Salida, Colorado, to be closer to their oldest daughter, Mallory, who was attending college nearby. But there were also rumors that the move was an attempt at a fresh start for Suzanne and Barry's troubled marriage.
Yep, so the 2 daughters are gone right now at the moment. The dad is in Denver for a job, and they text her because of Mother's Day, and they haven't heard. The text never went through, like it never delivered since this morning. And she's a big mountain biker. She normally takes her car, and her bike's normally in the back of that. It's gone.
Was this open when you...
They have cameras, but they've been out of commission for a while.
Hey, 11. This is a weird question, but do Barry and Suzanne get along pretty well?
You can answer honestly. You know, I think they've had some problems.
Okay.
Yeah, in the past.
Like, just normal...
Normal husband and wife type deal.
Oh, they like talk about separating or anything
They
like
have,
that?
yeah. I would, yeah.
And you know this through Macy?
Yeah, I'm very
Macy?
close with her.
Where is it? Where's the bike? Where is it? Where's the bike? Oh, it's right there. Where was it? It was like just right down here in this little embankment right here. So I check this dude. We got the husband on scene here with me. That's the thing.
Lion?
Yeah, it was just like
Was
lion.
there no lion? Mountain lion?
I didn't see anything that would
I didn't see anything, and they're not letting us go over the side
because we're getting a track
dogs. We're bringing dogs in.
just right down in here. Yeah.
Do you know what my husband and son?
And Bear, just I know this is tough right now. Do you mind if I just get a driver's license for our report stuff? Search and rescue's on their way. Hey Barry, and then I'll probably need your help to kind of tell me some of the trails that she frequents, so we can backtrack some of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Oh man. And she's an avid mountain biker, right?
It's just started about. She's been hitting it.
And just for confirmation, you left this morning at 5.
She was sound asleep.
Okay. And she told you she was gonna go bike riding?
She bikes every day, yeah.
Okay.
She said she's gonna bike when she gets up.
So she was asleep in the bed when you left. Did you say bye to her or anything?
No, she's sound asleep.
Okay.
Always leave her.
So the last time you probably actually saw her was this morning. That was it, right?
Yeah, I've been in Petersburg. I got a big job up there. I've been there all day working. I'm sorry, you need to calm down.
No, it's all good, man.
On the day that Barry Morphew's wife went missing, he spent the morning throwing away items in trash bins at 5 locations near Broomfield, hours away from his Chaffee County home. According to cell data collected by software on Morphew's truck and his cell phone, on May 9th and 10th of 2020, Barry Morphew left his Chaffee County home early on May 10th and drove to the Front Range for a landscaping job. That morning, Morphew appeared to make 5 trash runs at various spots near Broomfield. In the first run, Morphew stopped next to a trash can at an RTD bus station for about 90 seconds, and the passenger and driver's doors on his truck opened. He then went to a hotel and, before checking in, parked along the back next to a trash can, where the truck doors again opened and closed. He then left the hotel and threw items away at a McDonald's restaurant. Morphew at one point told investigators he was probably throwing away wrappers at McDonald's, and later said he couldn't remember what he was throwing away. After stopping at McDonald's, Morphew then went to a large trash bin near a Men's Warehouse store and spent 40 minutes in that parking lot. Later that afternoon, Morphew placed a full trash bag, tree planter, and a camouflage jacket in a trash bin near the hotel. And also, according to FBI testimony, someone used Barry Morphew's truck at 3:25 a.m. on the day his wife went missing. The truck's driver and passenger doors opened around that time. At about 3:51 a.m. on May 10th, Morphew's cell phone appeared to move to the area where his wife's abandoned bicycle was found. The last ping on Suzanne Morphew's cell phone was at 4:23 a.m. One more key note about Barry's story is that he claimed he was at the job site when the neighbor called him at 5:15 that day to tell him that Suzanne was missing. But surveillance video showed he was actually in his hotel room when he got the call and spent very little time at the job site then.
He has been pleading for his wife's return.
Well, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you, we miss you, your girls need you. No questions asked, however much they want.
It's kind of funny, well, not really funny, that he brings up he's willing to pay whatever they want to get her back. But we find out later that Suzanne had planted a spy pen in Barry's truck on several occasions. And there were recordings of conversations between Barry and Suzanne where he is basically begging her for money and saying that he will pay her back after whatever venture he's wanting this money for comes to fruition. And we also find out later that Suzanne had received an inheritance. As some of the text messages between Barry and Suzanne came forward, Suzanne was really expressing to her friend the abuse and how sick of Barry she actually was.
It appears they did involve the girls. Suzanne wrote, "He sat there as the ringleader the day he cut himself." She's talking about a work injury. "And told them all of the things I believe and got them all upset and was just sitting back and egging on, as if he felt justified and happy they were taking his side." In another text, Suzanne mentions to Sheila making things work with Barry only until her youngest is old enough to be out of the house. She said Barry's response was, "Okay, let's just tell the girls I'm leaving and how you feel you don't want me." You can see the picture the prosecution is trying to paint with these texts.
Yeah, it shows Barry as a manipulative person who used his girls against his wife. And it makes their Good Morning America interview make that much more sense when we see that later on. And now let's go over some of the evidence in the Barry Morphew case.
Undersheriff testified that Morphew had 3 scratch marks on his left arm and injuries on his hands when he spoke with Morphew a few days after Suzanne disappeared. Morphew said the injuries were caused by a tree when he was searching for Suzanne. Later in the day, an FBI agent testified that the hotel room in Broomfield, where Morphew was staying on a business trip the day Suzanne disappeared, smelled of chlorine and had wet towels around, as if somebody was trying to clean up something. Morphew's lawyer said the chlorine smell came from the pool just below the room.
This photo shows him holding shovels in the hotel lobby. He told law enforcement he was there for a construction job, but they later found out he was not permitted to use his heavy equipment because it was a Sunday. This photo shows scratches on Barry's hands and arms taken in the days after his wife's disappearance. The court also released photos Friday of Suzanne's bedroom, where a shell casing was found, and of the tranquilizer dart found in the home's dryer trap. Suzanne's purse was left behind in her car. Evidence shows the purse and all of its contents, including her wallet with cash, her ID, her credit cards, all things investigators say someone would not leave behind if they just ran away to start a new life. We're also seeing new photos of Suzanne's bike and helmet. Barry told law enforcement that he believed his wife was out for one of her regular bike rides when something must have happened to her. This is where her bike and her helmet were found in relation to her home. Investigators said they didn't find any evidence of an attack or crash when they found her bike, and you can see the condition that her bike was found in, along with a partial photo of her helmet.
Scratch marks on Morphew's arm. There's also the sheath to the dart cap found in the Morphew's dryer. This is what sparked the main theory investigators have gone with, that Morphew shot his wife with a tranquilizer dart. Investigators have said that cell phone pings or GPS data indicate he was chasing his wife around the house after he shot her. But the defense has time and again poked holes in this theory, pointing out just how unreliable the cell phone data is.
Now, this next part is where we found out Suzanne was having an affair with someone from high school. What bothered me about Jeff Libler is that he never came out after Suzanne went missing. The FBI had to seek him out, and it took them months. The guy was married with 6 children and living in Michigan. But he never heard back from Suzanne the day that she went missing, and he never said anything about it. And he claims in the court documents that he thought she was quote-unquote abducted. And he didn't want her memory to be tarnished by their affair.
A secret life that Suzanne was having an affair with her sweetheart from high school. This is Suzanne and her suspected lover, Jeff Libler, from their 1987 yearbook. Barry Morphew went to the same high school 2 grades ahead. Your heart, that's what I crave. I love how you love me. You're the sweetest thing I've ever known. FBI agent testified that Barry told a friend, if I find him, I will shoot off his blank and shove them down his throat.
We knew her daughters were very, very emotional, that you could tell on their faces that they had a lot of emotion going through just hearing all of this evidence coming out, hearing the messages between their mom and this man she was having this affair with.
They absolutely dismissed this case at this point because they knew they were going to lose this trial and Mr. Morphew was going to be acquitted and exonerated.
Tuesday's dismissal comes less than a year after Barry Morphew's arrest for the alleged murder of his wife. At the time, the district attorney said she was confident he'd be found guilty. In her motion to dismiss, that same DA said investigators believe they will soon find Suzanne Morphew's body buried under 5 feet of snow on a mountain above the Morphew's house.
After the murder charges were dropped against Barry Morphew, he pled guilty to submitting a ballot in Suzanne's name for Donald Trump.
This is the ballot Barry Morphew submitted for his wife Suzanne, months after she went missing from her home in Chaffee County. The ballot has Suzanne's name on it. The signature shows Barry's. Thursday, he accepted a deal offered by prosecutors, pleading guilty to lesser charges.
He knew that she wanted to vote, and he thought she might come back. He didn't know where she was, and he was carrying out her wishes.
Iris Eaton represents Morphew. She says Barry made a mistake, but didn't think he was doing anything wrong when he submitted his missing wife's ballot.
What he did is he signed his name on the witness line, not concealing that it was him. He signed his signature on the witness line, and he left the signature where she would normally sign blank. He did not make a mark there, trying to deceive the clerk that by chance she had signed it. He did not sign or forge her name, making it appear that she in fact signed it.
Property to be returned to him has been denied. Disappearance. He was trying to get the home the authorities took, but a judge denied that request on Tuesday.
Very sad, very confusing, just so traumatic. Like literally our worst nightmare.
Did you have anything to do with the disappearance of your wife?
Absolutely not. It's very hurtful to lose your reputation and your integrity.
Barry filing a $15 million civil suit against prosecutors, the sheriff, and several investigators.
So I know that 15 million is a huge number, but I don't think that, in my mind, that covers any of the damage that's happened to Barry and the girls.
I know he's innocent, and if they would just look for Suzanne outside of where they hypothesized Barry could have possibly buried her remains, they could find her.
His daughters standing by him.
You never had a shred of doubt once you heard the evidence from law enforcement against your dad?
I've never had a shred of doubt. Not one.
They've got tunnel vision, and they looked at one person, and they've got too much pride to say they're wrong and look somewhere else.
These charges were dropped without prejudice, which means if authorities feel like there's more evidence, they could charge you again. Do you live with fear of that?
Well, I was innocent the first time they arrested me, so I'm sure it's possible. But I don't have anything to worry about. I've done nothing wrong. I was innocent the first time they arrested me, so I'm sure it's possible. But I don't have anything to worry about. I've done nothing wrong.
Suzanne's remains were located on September 22nd, 2023, and positively identified on September 27th, 2023, by the El Paso County coroner in Colorado. Barry Morphew issued a statement through his lawyer, Iris Etan, saying that he and his daughters, quote, had faith that their wife and mom would walk back into their lives again. According to People magazine, when contacted on Thursday, September 28th, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, which made the announcement about the ID of Suzanne's body, did not comment about whether Barry will face renewed charges now that a body has been found.